Ramble.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode.
I want gum dum dum.
I want gum dum dum.
Gum
Dum dum. Give me gum.
Welcome to Guilty Pleasures. Welcome to the night at the museum. Welcome to Zach and Garrick hanging out time.
We're just chilling, man.
What's up, bud?
How you doing? How you feeling?
Kelsey said she's out this week, and we said we got this.
We got it. Don't worry about it.
Don't you even worry about it.
Be in Florida or whatever you're at, whatever you're doing.
My name's Kelsey. I do live shows without Zach and Garrick.
Yeah, I love the other Zach. I love him so much.
The other Zach's my real Zach.
He's Zach number 1.
This Zach number 2. Number 2's for poop.
Oh my God. I realized that I was telling my friend, I was like, oh yeah, I want a podcast with Zach and Kelsey. And they're like, which one? Oh God, yeah. It's very fun. Anyway,
We watched Night at the Museum, and it was my first time.
really?
Yeah.
First time.
First time.
Oh, you're gonna love the second one then?
Really?
It's great.
I had myself a little delightful evening.
Yeah.
I took my Edible, I
Yeah.
popped on the Ben Stiller,
Yeah.
and I had myself a time. I'm going to tell you that this might be the most notes I've ever written for a movie.
Great.
There was so much.
Yeah, that's so funny that you were like, I enjoyed this movie, but I have notes.
Oh, I got notes. I got notes.
Oh, I got hella notes.
I will tell you that I went down a Wikipedia deep dive. Because Night at the Museum, if you don't know, stars Ben Stiller as an down-on-his-luck daddy. He needs a job so he can stay in Manhattan. That's an expensive city. Doesn't pay for itself. So he gets a job being the night guard for the Museum of Natural History. Uh-oh. Turns out the museum comes to life.
Yep.
This is Night at the Museum.
There it is. And we got the synopsis out the way. It's
knock it out.
very simple. It's a very simple thing.
It's Toy Story with a museum.
It's Toy Story, but a museum. And it's not like when you're not looking, they come alive. It's when it's at night because of a tablet or whatever.
Yeah, there's a mummy, pharaoh.
Rami Malek's tablet.
What a surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise.
to get over 75 minutes into the movie, and it's like Rami Malek pops up, and it's goofy-ass Rami Malek.
Yeah, it's Rami Malek doing a full British voice and being an Egyptian. He is Egyptian, I believe. An Egyptian pharaoh that went to Cambridge, apparently.
He, this is pre-Mr. Robot.
Yeah,
pre-Mr. Robot. Him getting his Oscar. So, like, he's kids movie goofy.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see.
And I fucking love it.
I thought he was great. This is the most I've ever liked Rami Malek.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not even in Oppenheimer. I loved him in Oppenheimer.
Oh, yeah. He
was great in Oppenheimer because he was the Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah,
and I fucking loved that. I loved him coming in being like, fuck this dude. I love it.
That is how Rami Malek should be used. Mm-hmm. You don't show him until 70 to 90 minutes into your movie, and he Deus Exes that shit up.
Yeah, because he is fucking, he's so recognizable with those goddamn eyes that are just like spilling out of his fucking face.
Yep.
And his perfect bone structure. And you're like, okay, who is this person? That's obviously Rami Malek. He obviously is important in some way, and then he is. It's great.
So what I love, this is a museum. It's a museum of natural history.
Yep.
You have history of
Did you ever go in New York?
Oh my God, did I ever go? I went all the time. It's an incredible museum.
It's the best.
It is the best. I adore that. If you, next time, when you're doing your trip to New York, you're like, I gotta go to Times Square. First of all, no, the fuck you don't.
You don't.
Go to the Museum of Natural History.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
Go to the Met also.
Go to the Met.
Go to the fucking Met.
New York has great museums.
It's got really good museums. I was never into museums until, of course, I saw this movie and I went out and I went to the Museum of Natural History because I was like, I gotta fucking see it.
You walk in the lobby. There's the giant
the
T-Rex.
big ass T-Rex. Yep.
And I mean, going as a kid, it just blew my mind. Yeah. They only show it for 1 second, but there's the basement has a giant whale.
Oh, okay.
That in the Squid and the Whale. They go down there. Right. I loved that. I made, when Maggie and I were dating the first time she came to New York, I was like, we're going to the museum. And she's like, this is for kids, right? I'm like, no, it's for intrepid learners.
Yeah. Have you been to the California Science Center?
Maybe. Would I know? Would I know if I had?
I think you would know. It's right next to the LA Galaxy. I mean, not LA Galaxy, LAFC, where they play.
Yes.
And it's our version of that, I guess. And then we also have a museum of natural history.
It's not as good.
It's not as good, but it's next to the Science Center.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I was obviously you're dealing with history in a kids movie.
Yes.
So we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah. We got to talk about history for sure.
And I'll tell you that I went on like a 10 to 15 minute edible driven Wikipedia deep dive while also still watching the movie.
Yeah.
And then I'm like reading one of the most horrific chapters of American history.
Oh, yeah.
And then I look up and just see Ben Stiller and a monkey slapping the shit out of each other.
Yeah. And I think that's what this movie should do is bring curious people to like actually do some research, and then you look up and you see one of our greatest comedic actors getting the shit slapped out of him.
Let's begin there. Ben Stiller, I miss every man.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller. Mm-hmm. He's now, I mean, he's doing great work with Severance. He's a serious director.
Jesus God.
He's
Jesus
a serious
Christ.
director.
Jesus God Christ. Oh my God, Severance is so goddamn good.
Hurry up with season 2, Ben.
Oh my God.
But I'm thrilled that he's doing that, and obviously it means a lot to him. But I'm also like, Ben, get back into your rom-coms, bro.
You know,
I miss you.
So I watched something about Mary the other day.
It's perfect.
It's a perfect film.
It's perfect.
It's a perfect movie. And I went through this same crisis of conscience, I guess, where I'm like, man, do I want Ben Stiller back because this is where he's best? Or am I being selfish? Because when I looked at Severance, the literal opening scene of the first second of the show is perfect.
Yes.
It is just maybe he
can do it all.
Maybe he can do it all. Maybe that's just what he was. I also watch Heavyweights as well.
We should do Heavyweights on this show.
Yeah.
There's an incredible speech. I don't know, Ethan Hawke, the great actor, is being father of Maya Hawke. We love that family.
Oh my God.
But Ethan Hawke is giving a speech somewhere, and he takes umbrage with the fact that people always call film a visual medium. And he's like, now obviously it is, and we should celebrate cinematographers. And he does it in that Ethan Hawke way, where you're just like, I feel deeply about this.
Yeah.
It's a terrible impression. But he's like,
he's got a raspy voice.
How many the cinematographer to director pipeline is actually quite small. And then you think about how many actors become incredible directors. And there's something to understanding human emotion. Yeah. And that is really what the movies are all about.
That's very cool.
I thought it was sick.
Yeah, because even if you do look at like Severance in general, all of the severed are dealing with damn near like this utopian, like very bright and colorful and toyific, whatever, joyous lifestyle. And then when they go up and you deal with their, like, it's downstairs is like lit very well and very bright and very pretty. And then you go up and you like with the real folks, the real life and all of that stuff. And it gets so dark and gritty, and you're like watching everybody's like actual emotions and like being like, okay, well, I mean, I'm a severed person. Half of my brain is blah, blah, blah. And I did that because I was dealing with the death of my fiance or my wife or whatever. And I think that those emotions carry over from actor to director, not so much from cinematographer to director, like you're explaining.
Yeah. People are like, dear God, talk about the dinosaur.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Talk about the dinosaurs.
He's great in this. He's it's interesting seeing how good he is because he's very subtle as a comedian in the lead, and then he does his goofy stuff. But I was surprised at how I was trying to watch him and figure out. Yeah. I was in my mind of like, why is he so good? Right. And I can't crack it. I think he just is.
I think he's
a Nepo baby that we support.
I have crossed the plane on the Nepo baby situation. Nepo baby actors and all that stuff, or people in Hollywood. It's just like, you got a leg up, but also in the same way that athletes pass their genes down from child to child, actors do the same thing because little Maya Hawke, Jesus Christ, she's so fucking good. But he's great. The first time I ever saw Ben Stiller in anything was him being in Everyman. Not even him being like super out there, and then I saw Dodgeball, and I was like, oh my God, he's fucking hilarious.
Fuck, you're right. Yeah, his range of that is wild because you think about it, there's something about Mary, and it's like, he's a normal ass dude.
He's a normal guy.
And then he pulls off Dodgeball, and you're like, oh, he's crazy.
He's crazy. And then you look at Tropic Thunder as well. It's fucking insane the whole time.
The first 50 minutes of this movie, before we get to the actual museum, is so unbelievably funny. Yeah. I wrote some quotes because Ben Stiller, he's a dreamer.
Yeah.
And he has this dork-ass son, this little fucking kid, who wants to be a bond trader.
Yeah.
Fuck that kid.
Oh, yeah, because he met Paul Rudd, and he was like, oh, he's cool.
Paul Rudd's so funny. He's only in one scene, and he steals it.
Yeah, it's really tough.
But I wrote, oh no, this kid doesn't love his dad because he wants to live in Manhattan. His dad can't afford it. Fuck you, kid.
Yeah, learn about socioeconomics, buddy. It's tough to live out there.
Manhattan's tough.
It's a lot. Capitalism ruined our country.
There's a quote. Ben Stiller goes to his son, I really feel like my moment's coming. And the son says, what if you're wrong and you're just an ordinary guy who should get a job? What the fuck?
But, I mean, that's so dark. But also, that's what the movie is. Like, the whole time you're watching the movie and you're like, man, dog, I can't fucking wait for this guy's invention to come up later in the museum somehow, and then it's going to make him a rich person later. None of that happens. All that happens is that he does get a job. He's not special. He gets a job at a special place, but he himself is not special.
Not at all. It feels like the son character was written as his father.
Yeah. Oh, and then they retconned.
And then they retconned it, and they're just like, take the same script. It's a son now.
Yeah, it's a son.
Because it's literally, they have this like 8-year-old as a like, when are you gonna stop dreaming and get a job?
So funny.
The whole conceit of this movie.
Yeah.
Things that shouldn't come to life come to life. Mm-hmm. It's Toy Story. I fuck with it every single time.
One thing that'll always get me is things coming to life and then little people being big. Little people being like having big personalities, or little people being like, I fucking hate big people. I hate Bob.
You're talking about like Owen Wilson as the miniature.
Yes,
and
the
Steve
miniature.
Coogan.
And Steve Coogan. It's hilarious. It's always funny. I loved Ant-Man because of it. I just want to watch small people deal with a big world.
And like I came in with a heart of ice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that I've not enjoyed many movies lately.
Yeah.
I've been watching the family fare, not the family affair, just family movies.
Yeah.
And I felt like this. I'm like, oh, dude, maybe I just can't experience joy anymore.
Yeah.
I really started to fear that I'm like, I'm just old. I'm fucking jaded, and I see through it, and I hate everything.
Yeah.
And then shit started coming to life in this ding-dang museum, and let me tell you what.
Yep.
That was a crazy night at a museum.
You don't need much. Was that Brad Garrett that played it?
Oh, it might have been.
I forget. It's a voice I recognize. I can't remember though.
You got Dick Van Dyke absolutely tearing up the scenery.
Yeah.
He and you also have Mickey Rooney. They are like the old guard, literally.
Yeah.
The old guards who want to give up the job. And from the second he came on the screen, I'm like, oh my God, this is what acting is, and we've lost it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just be goofy. Just be like big and like, hey, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah.
I was watching him, and I don't have anything funny to say other than, I don't have anything funny to say, but I just am like, wow, they don't make him like that anymore.
No, they don't.
I honestly, as great as Ben Stiller is, I would have rather seen Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, I would have loved watching like his origin story or something like that. Or like if the first movie was him and then the second movie was him passing it on to Ben Stiller.
Yeah,
I would have loved
absolutely.
that. Why? Oh, do you think Dick Van Dyke was gonna play the dad? And then and then they were like, oh, we changed it to a kid, but we kind of have this new storyline. Would you like to be that? And
you
like,
changed my role to a fucking kid?
He's like, yeah. Well, I don't care. I'm Dick Van Dyke. I'm rich as shit.
I loved seeing Mickey Rooney in this. He has 3 different old-timey phrases.
Yeah.
So he says, "Do you want the job or not, Snack Shack?" It fucking killed me.
Yeah.
I love any like old-timey mean man will also make me laugh every time.
Yeah.
Keep a lid on it, butterscotch.
Yeah. Oh my God. And the pile driver scene is when he was getting his ass beat.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah. That fucking sent me.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
Yeah.
You have, tell me.
Okay, so we have Dick Van Dyke and the old guard. They are revealing that they are stealing things from the museum because they got fired or they're leaving. I'm not sure which one, and they need money to sustain their lifestyle of being young.
It's Dick Van Dyke, Mickey Rooney, and Bill Cobbs.
They need money, so they're stealing stuff. And they find out we find out that they're back to their youth, not physically, but they can move around like they were in their youth at night.
So basically what? The Pharaoh's tablet animates
reanimates history, essentially.
And as a result, it also makes these old men spry.
And pretty much push them to shove. They beat the shit out of Ben Stiller. And the last blow comes from Mickey Rooney, right? Yeah, Mickey Rooney going from the top rope and fucking elbowing him and yelling out "pile driver" and just fucking.
It's transcendent cinema.
It's great.
Watching 80-year-old Mickey Rooney fly through the air and give the people's elbow.
Yes, it's so good. Just watching it fucking DDTing a young Ben Stiller for no reason.
I think we should normalize uncanny CGI when it comes to old people doing shit they shouldn't.
Yes.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. A common misconception about relationships is that they have to be easy or light or right, but sometimes, honestly, the best ones happen when both people put in the work to make them great. Therapy can be a great place to work through the challenges you face in all of your relationships, whether with friends, work, your significant other, or anyone, honestly. Sometimes you just need a safe space to kind of talk through any problems or issues you might have, and honestly, therapy is the best way to do that. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit betterhelp.com/guiltypleasures today to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/guiltypleasures.
Yes.
Yoda doing backflips and fighting in the second Star Wars?
That's
the funniest scene ever made.
It's great. It's great. When he fucking put his little old cane down, he was like, "Oh, I'm Yoda. I'm so fucking and he's like, "Bitch," and he like it's just doing flips, all that stuff. And then the other guy gets away, and then he picks up the cane again and just like, "Oh, I'm so old." Yes, yeah, that's what CGI is for.
Ugh. So the museum comes to life, and honestly, insane choice.
Yeah.
They start with the dinosaur.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yeah, you would think that would be like the last situation, because you're like, okay, well, this
can't
giant
get any
thing,
worse.
Yeah, it can't get any worse, but it gets significantly easier as we go. Yeah, I think they definitely blew their load with the dinosaur. They should have just waited at the end.
I was losing my mind screaming. I'm like, what do you can't start with the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Where do you even go from here?
Right.
And the answer is a racist depiction of Attila the Hun.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. I want to talk about how bad the mom from Spy Kids is. Just aging like fine wine. As always, every time you see her, I'm like, okay, she's great. She's incredible. I love it.
She's just like, she's such a a lack of a character, but you just because she is who she is, you're like, yeah, I get it though.
Yeah.
At the end of it, she pulls up. This is the very end of the movie. Mm-hmm. She pulls up in the early morning in a taxi cab driven
by Charlie Murphy.
Charlie motherfucking Murphy.
May he rest in peace. I love that man so much. So funny. Anyway.
And she is in the taxi, sees all of these museum creatures crossing the street. She enters the museum, and Ben Stiller goes, I told you, I wasn't making fun of you. And she emotionally goes, I know.
No, you didn't. No, you fucking didn't. You didn't know. You ran out of here crying because you thought he was making fun of you. You didn't know shit. I know.
But these people, they barely know each other.
Yeah.
They've talked 3 times.
Yeah. It's very. It was that whole part of it was very weird because their chemistry was off. They don't know each other. They had 2 scenes together. You're making me think that they're trying to get together. But honestly, the whole thing is about him and his son, which is way more of a compelling storyline. So why is she even there?
Yeah, you got it. You got a little. Yeah. You got to have the implication of a smooch. There was no smooch. But there was an emotional smooch.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But you are right. It's about him and his son. Yeah, you don't need her.
You don't need because it's the same thing that happens twice. It's double beady, where the son doesn't believe him, and then she doesn't believe him, and then it happens for the son. And now you're like, okay, well, I that's great that somebody that didn't believe him believes him now. And now you expect me to have the same reaction again to somebody else? It's like, I don't give a fuck about her reaction to this.
That is, I guarantee you that is a result of this script going through the studio system and being rewritten 14 times.
Absolutely. Oh, it feels like a remnant where they forgot. It's like, oh, that's the same story. Oh, God. But
when are we shooting? We started shooting last week.
Well, I mean, it'll be fine.
We got Dick Van Dyke?
Yeah.
Cool. That's
fine. He got it. What was I gonna say? I do like that she finally got to meet Sakajwea.
That was nice.
That was very sweet.
And I like a little fangirl.
Yeah, her reaction to her is like walking up all extra regal and just like, hey, how are you doing? I fucking love you. I'm a fan. I'm such a huge fan of yours. And then she's like, oh, did you want to know anything? It's like, yeah, sure. It was cool.
Because I don't know anything. I'm plastic.
I'm
reanimated plastic, so I don't have any of the memories of Sakajwea.
I don't know shit.
While we're talking about the ending, the kid, the son, who used to be disappointed in his dad in the beginning of the movie, he doesn't bring him to parent job day.
Yeah.
And the end of the movie comes to him presenting in the class, and he goes, and that's how my dad saved the museum.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for there to be a pause and the teacher to be like, yeah, no, you get an F. That's clearly all made up.
Yeah, that's not real. There's no way that's real.
They all applaud. And they're like, yay! I'm like, if a kid brings his dad to school and tells the entire class that his dad saved the museum.
Yeah. It's so weird because I hope that the story that he told was the story of him stopping the burglars from stealing stuff, the old night managers from stealing stuff, and that feels good. But then also the entire city is on alert because they saw a T-Rex fucking walk through the snow. Cavemen on the top of the museum.
That is the other thing. Okay, the whole climax of this movie takes place in Central Park at night.
Yeah.
Not a place you want to be.
No.
But
nobody is there. Nobody is around in the city that never sleeps, which is very weird.
That's the problem.
Very crazy.
They show outside of the museum, and I'm blanking on. I don't know if it's 7th Ave. It's an avenue.
Yeah.
There are people there 24/7. There's not a single moment of the day where you can have a T-Rex walk through and no one is going to see it.
Yeah.
And they have a parade of these creatures. At one point, they have a caveman out on the street when the sun rises and he turns to dust. Mm-hmm. And it's very tragic.
Because that's what happens when they're not in the museum during... when sun hits them, they turn to dust.
The whole logic of the pharaohs.
We don't care. We don't care.
I care a little bit, and I'm gonna say it's flimsy logic.
It's flimsy logic. the suspension of disbelief you have to have with the magic of the movie, and then also the history of the movie, as you will go on to explain at length, is pretty huge. But if you can have it, you have a good time. You have a fantastic time.
Oh, he's a pharaoh.
Yeah.
Who wants to come back to life, so he reanimates things, but only when the sun is down. What the fuck is that?
It just doesn't make sense.
What the fuck is
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
No. You kind of just have to roll with that one.
Yeah.
It sucks.
You want to talk about history?
I want to talk about, but before that, I just gotta, like, and this is on a personal level, the way that Robin Williams like hits me in the dad spot.
Oh yeah.
It fucking hurts because I don't know, because my dad was such a huge fan of Robin Williams.
Playing FDR in this movie.
He plays FDR in this movie.
That's not what your dad was a fan
No,
of.
no,
I
no,
just
no,
was giving context.
No, yeah. He plays FDR in this movie. And knowing that
I'm sorry, he plays Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Different R.
Oh, different R. Teddy Roosevelt. He plays Teddy Roosevelt. For the love of God, every time when we said FDR, we're sorry, Jesus Christ. We're sorry. Don't fucking get mad at us. We're dumb. We're
dumb-dumbs.
We have a lot
We
of
need gum-gum.
We need gum. We got a lot going on. But him playing Teddy Roosevelt, as soon as it like panned up and you saw because I forgot. And I saw him, there's like this like little inkling of just emotion, and you're just like, fuck, man, kids don't get to know how special Robin Williams was.
100%. The first close up to him, I literally wrote it too.
Yeah.
I got emotional seeing him.
Emotional.
And it's like, he's Teddy Roosevelt, so it's like it's presented as this like, here's this guy. But what I'm seeing is like the movie is like, and here's Robin Williams,
and it's Robin
on a
Williams.
fucking horse.
Yeah.
And he's such Robin a gentle soul in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's so many fucking good stories about Robin Williams where I like his philanthropy and all that stuff. Like when he was playing, I'm gonna get this story wrong, but like when he was playing Genie, he like foregoed like most of his payment to play him, and like he either got like just money on the back end, or just like, oh, hopefully this would do well or be well, but I don't want the quality of the movie to come at the expense of my paycheck.
I know he didn't want his name, like he didn't want it to be advertised with his name, because he thought that was belittling to animation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there's a really great video essay, I'm blanking on who did it, but about how prior to Robin Williams being the Genie, animation just had who was the best voice.
Yeah.
Robin Williams happened to also have the best voice acting chops. But after that, it actually like fundamentally changed the industry forever, because then it was like, oh, now we need stars to cast in movies.
So
and that
crazy.
Was not what Robin wanted.
Damn.
Not what Robin wanted.
Yeah, he's like fucking in heaven now, like staring out like Oppenheimer at the river, at the pond, just like, oh, what have I done?
The Rock in Moana 2. And he's like, what have I done?
Oh, God. Yeah.
He is great in this. I mean, everyone is great. Like, let's just run through the
everybody's
cast.
great.
We mentioned Owen Wilson and Steve Coogan as Steve is the Roman Empire. Owen's the Wild West. The two of them are beefing.
Why? Who cares?
Also, Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller may have the best non-sexual, but maybe sexual chemistry on screen.
Yeah. Because they're in movies together
Zoolander.
a lot. Yeah.
And Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on what else. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But even though it's so clear that Owen Wilson filmed everything on a green screen, still the banter between him and Ben Stiller, I was like, oh, these men were made for each other.
Yeah. Their comedy it's almost like they understand where each other are gonna go with like their inflection, and so they can like, whenever they're practicing scenes alone, they can go and be like, this is what Ben is going to do. This is what Owen is going to do. And so I know how to play off of it before I even get there. Like, I think it's really cool that they know their scene partner that well, to the point where they're not even in the same room.
That's what made it so impressive.
Yeah.
They've probably filmed it months apart.
Yeah. It's like this.
They did. There's a fun fact about that.
There you go.
There it is.
And that is wild that they They filmed it months apart?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it like separate. Like Ben Stiller was doing his lines to a toothpick.
Wow.
That's funny. And
And
he's
it's just
like
a toothpick with Owen Wilson's face on it. That's funny.
you
That's
just
crazy.
have like a PA going, wow.
Yeah. Wow.
But that's like
wow.
that makes it honestly that's insane. That he has such good chemistry with Owen Wilson that he could act at a toothpick.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's like I know what he's gonna do, man. Also, Owen Wilson, one of the most underrated
He's
of
great.
all time.
Yeah.
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 Extremely underrated. Did I say overrated?
No, you said under.
Okay, extremely underrated.
I feel like he's pretty famous.
Yeah, but not famous enough.
Not famous enough.
He's
Not
such
famous
a-
enough.
He's such a good writer too.
Yeah.
He wrote all the early Wes Anderson movies with him.
Yeah.
Like he is
Because he's
fucking
hilarious.
awesome.
He's hilarious. He understands rhythm on a level that's kind of hard and kind of like natural. Where it's only natural. Like there's a level that you can get to understand like comedic timing and all that stuff if you like study it. But some people just have it naturally. Him and Paul Rudd, two people that will just like. And I think Jason Bateman has this as well, where it's just like I will like close my eyes and know the timing of these people, and it will always be on beat and on rhythm because they just have like a natural timing. It's fucking crazy. And then Owen Wilson to the point where he can write it. It's insane.
when I was, I want to say 13 years old, maybe 15, I came to LA with my family on a trip, and we went to eat in Santa Monica. I think we went to the Ivy because it was a place that you knew you were going to see some celebos.
Yeah.
And we saw a dude from Star Trek, and we also saw Owen Wilson. And I went up to him and I apologized for interrupting him eating, but I said, I'm a fan or something. And he said, hi, I'm Owen.
Oh my God.
That's my story.
Yeah, that's so good. Hi, hi, little guy. I'm Owen.
I'm Owen.
Nice to meet you. I love it when a celebrity introduces himself. That's all that I need, if I'm being honest. It's just like, you just got to introduce. You don't have to.
But it feels nice.
It feels nice.
Very humanizing.
Yeah. Just like, I know who you are, man. Thank you so much.
I'm Owen.
Oh, so
Said it
sweet.
like the hi, I'm Paul at the end of Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, hi, I'm Paul. Oh my God.
Does that reference mean anything to you, Rainie?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dang. People who know. The
Yeah,
end
they
of Jimmy
know.
Neutron, Nickelodeon had the greatest production company
Yeah,
logo
weird.
tag of all time.
Yeah.
Little xylophone. And then a three-eyed monkey. I'm Paul. I watched that show just for that moment.
Oh yeah. And all right, okay. This might get me in trouble. I feel like it's not a hot take at all, but I feel like people will playfully be mad at me. I think that Carl in Jimmy
Weezer.
Neutron,
Yeah.
Carl Weezer.
We're talking about this in the Night of the Museum episode. You better fucking believe you're listening to the right one.
I think that Carl Weezer in Jimmy Neutron is the most annoying cartoon character of all time. I hate Carl. There were times when I would skip past his dialogue on like I would like DVR Jimmy Neutron. I love the show, and then I would just fast forward past him talking because I hated him that much.
I hate you right now.
Oh, I know you. I
take it you're not a fan of his cover of Redbone.
Of Redbone? No.
'Cause that
no,
to me
I
that might be the greatest video on the internet.
I know you believe this, and I know you think that, and I know that this is like stressing you out, but it is literal. His voice is nails on a chalkboard for me. Yeah. Anyway, I hate Carl. I hate Carl. I hate him so much.
Let's talk about this film's depiction of history.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was a very accurate American-centric view of the world.
Yeah. Okay.
And how it really conflates history. But I mentioned it before. Attila the Hun, I get that he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
But this movie only has one main Asian character.
Right.
And he is a barbarian. And it felt
It's
bad.
just bad. Yeah, it's bad.
I need you to pull up a scene. Go on YouTube. Type Night at the Museum, Huns. Yeah. There is a scene towards the end of this film where Ben Stiller finally, he's been chased around by Attila the Hun, and they finally, what is the word? They finally go head to head.
Yeah.
And I spat out my sparkling water.
Yeah.
I could not believe that this was allowed in a movie in my lifetime. It is Ben Stiller basically screaming fake Asian noises.
Yes. Yeah. That was
Dude.
That was fucking wild.
It is nuts.
Like
I'm gonna play a quick excerpt.
It's yeah.
Say, go on.
I was
No. Dude, dog,
come on.
You can't. And what sucks is that I can imagine kids finding this so funny.
Oh, of course. And then that's what they'll do to people who speak Cantonese, and they're like, rude.
The problem with this is not that Attila the Hun, bad guy.
Yeah, bad guy.
But when you have a movie where the only Asian character is this barbarian, and then you have the goofy way that you solve this is by yelling a bunch of fake fucking Asian noises at him.
Right.
Now gives a kid permission to do that on the playground.
Yep. To do it
to the Asian classmate.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's bad.
Okay.
I couldn't fucking believe.
All right. This is why people should watch the movie Joyride. I think that I know we're talking about other movies while talking about a singular movie that we should stay on topic for, and I apologize. That is my fault. But there is a scene in Joyride of them like their origin story of how these two women met, and it is of one of them getting bullied on the playground, and it is being bullied by a white kid. And the thing that the kid says to her, I was on a plane while watching this movie, and I shouldn't have laughed this hard. As soon as I laughed, I was like, "Oh no, that's not good. That's not good. Oh God." And that scene reminds me of this scene, mainly because this is probably what kids were doing to young Asian children for no reason.
This is not just this scene, because you have basically Teddy Roosevelt is like the only, and then later the Pharaoh. They're like the only nobly presented characters.
Right.
You have Africa is just reduced to wild animals.
Yeah, no civilization.
No, not a civilization to be found.
Yeah. Or just the giant Africa that is always behind him when he looks over at the...
It says Africa.
It just says
big
Africa.
Sign. But God forbid we talk about the kingdoms and the art and the music. Actually, they may have someone dancing in the background at one point.
Right.
But that's not there. You have, in the room with the miniatures, you have the Wild West and the Romans.
Yeah.
They're able to have a voice, have logic. But then you have, I believe, the Mayans. You have the Mayans, and they are blowing darts.
Yep.
They are trying to attack, and they are depicted as all they want to do is fight.
Yeah.
So you have the Wild West and the Roman Empire. They both have the drive to expand, right? They're trying to bomb each other's walls, and they want to fight. But they are characterized as essentially civilized and reasonable, whereas any characters of color in this movie fucking are not.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch in school? Did you watch The Voyage of the Mimi?
No.
Ooh, I just unlocked some core memories for maybe 2% of the audience.
Great.
It was Ben Affleck as a baby boy.
Okay.
And it's a multi-part mystery educational show about discovering the ancient Mayan civilization.
Wow.
And it ripped.
That's crazy.
Watched it in 4th grade, maybe 5th. Loved it. Shout out to anyone that was on the Mimi train.
Hell yeah. Mimi.
But we got to talk about Sakajwea
and
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah. It's so funny that they were like, who Teddy Roosevelt should love? A Native American
You know
woman.
where we're fucking going, Rainie?
I did not know. I do not remember that at all, but that is bleak. Because Teddy Roosevelt also, he was Manifest Destiny, right?
I don't know, but Manifest Destiny is mentioned in this. So
Teddy Roosevelt, I don't believe was Manifest
Was
Destiny.
that FDR? Was that a different? I don't know.
I'm dumb.
Yeah.
But I know
Yeah, I don't
Teddy
remember
Roosevelt because I
things.
looked it up. He is often credited as this great environmentalist because he put aside all of our national parks, or many of them. And so people mark him as this, really great, upstanding guy.
James K. Polk was the president who is
For Manifest Destiny?
the leader most associated with Manifest Destiny.
Way to go, Polk.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Way to go, quote unquote.
But so first you start with Sakajwea. She is portrayed as this simple, innocent ingenue, while Lewis and Clark are these gentle soldiers. It's this beautiful, pure time.
Yeah.
And Sakajwea is trapped behind the glass, and you have Teddy, who is like, he is the man of this movie.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
he's the hero
He's
of
the
museum.
adult. Yeah.
He's the adult in the room.
Yeah.
He's the leader. I thought it was very actually like telling that in the U.S. in a museum, the Teddy Roosevelt statue knows that he's the president.
Yeah, that's fun.
He's like, this is my land.
Yeah.
The museum is self-aware of its slew on history. But Teddy Roosevelt sees Sakajwea, and there's this like unrequited love. Like, are you gonna ever tell her how you feel? And she is portrayed as I don't want to say like ingenue is the word I would give.
Yeah.
I already gave it.
I don't even know what that word means.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But it feels right.
It feels good. Okay.
She's doe-eyed. She's just
Yeah.
she's waiting to be swept off her feet.
Okay, yeah.
Which is a really weird,
Yeah.
reductive way to look at Sakajwea.
Yeah, really crazy. I honestly would say they gave her a little bit more agency than I would have expected from, I guess, this age of writing, I wouldn't say. Because when Ben Stiller's character was trying to talk to her, she was just like, buddy, I can't hear you. You're the glass. I can't hear you, blah, 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 blah. And then she just kind of went about her business. And then later on, she was asked to track, and they like, he was like, oh, where did they go? Where did this? They're like looking for one of the night guards or one of the old guards, and they're like, could you track him? And she was like, yeah, his tracks lead this way. It looks like he lost control and crashed into a pole. And she's like, wow, you're such an amazing tracker. How did you know that? And then she just points at the fucking van. They play.
She's a good character.
She's cool. A good character. She's cool. I think they play her for like, you dumb white person comedy, like if that makes sense. But yeah, I also don't love that she wasn't like secretly trying to kill every white person in the movie.
Well, there's just like, look, maybe it's because I watched Codes of the Flower Moon and it's just fresh on the mind, but like seeing a love, like that the president of the United States is lusting after a Native American woman made me feel like a little yucko because of the obvious treatment of Native Americans in American history.
Right.
And then I was like, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe Teddy.
Maybe Teddy was like, he was a G. Maybe he was a real ally.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then I looked it up. And it turns out Teddy Roosevelt was horrifically racist.
Okay, yeah.
To an extent that shocked me. Now I believe we look at history with a lens of nuance.
Yeah,
he did some cool things, but I'm going to tell you, this dude was a piece of shit when it came to this.
Oh, God.
Some of these quotes, I don't even know that I can read out loud. I would suggest you just go look up Teddy Roosevelt, Native Americans. But suffice to say, if you do even 1 second of research, you would find the most basic of Google searches.
Yeah.
You would find that making him be in love with Sakajwea is fucking insulting.
Not a good look.
Again, it's just like, what the fuck? So I am falling, like uncovering this dark chapter of American history, having my little mind blown because all I've ever heard is that Teddy Roosevelt's this fucking, he's one of the dope ones. And then I look up and Ben Stiller and a monkey are slapping the shit out of each other.
And you're just like, night at the Museum of Natural Revisionist History. It's like, Jesus Christ.
We're not a history podcast. We're a silly movie podcast.
Yeah.
So I'll bring it back to this movie. I'll also just say, like, if you're interested in this at all, do some more research about Teddy Roosevelt, because it kind of blew my mind, right? The way that we have a reductive view on our own history and a very skewed lessons in our class. Like, I never knew any of this shit about our presidents.
Right.
I'm having to unlearn a lot.
I would argue that simply because his name is Teddy, everybody is like, this was a sweet guy. Oh, he made the teddy bear. Like this, he's a sweetheart. There's no way that he
How could you hate a teddy?
How could you hate a teddy bear? No, come on. He's adorable. He's not. He's a fucking evil nightmare of a person in this movie. And they fucking cast the sweetest man to play this demon in order to make us think that he was a good guy. He wasn't.
Yeah. To bring it back to this movie, it just is. It's what makes this premise so hard. Yeah. Like, on paper, Night at the Museum. Right. Museum's gonna come to life. Oh my god, it's Toy Story in a museum. Do you know who wrote it? It's Tom Lennon and his writing partner from Reno 911.
Oh, nice.
They fucking and they crushed it. They have a really funny book about like how to sell a spec script and get really rich in Hollywood.
Oh, is that the it's like a really long title.
It's literally, the title is something along the lines of how to sell movies and get really, really rich in Hollywood in the process. They crushed it, right? Like, as a log line, this is as good as it gets. Yeah. And then you have to think, like, reckon with history. Yeah. And you go, oh God, why couldn't we have made anything else come to life for one night?
Yeah. It's so funny because I feel like they wrote this, sold it, and then they realized what they had done.
Yep.
And they're like, fuck it. Who cares? Just make it. Make it quick enough so that nobody remembers what we're actually doing. And then the movie did well. And they made a bunch of money, and then they made a second one. And a third one. And the second one did really well. The second one's great. That's like an argument for like best sequel. Best sequel.
No way.
Yeah, it's really good. It's not like,
I look forward to watching it.
Yeah, it's slightly better than the first because you're dealing with a different threat. And a threat that's inside of the museum. And it's what you would expect, where you're just like, wait, why is this dinosaur? We can't deal with this dinosaur. And then the second one like deals with that. Or what a threat from inside the museum would be like. I don't remember. I didn't watch the third one. I hope I'm not describing the third one.
You have like an unpopular opinion that the third
because
is
I
best?
watched them
Is
all.
Night at the Museum the greatest trilogy of all time?
It might
Let's
be.
discuss. It's so throughout its inconsistent treatment of history. Sometimes it wants to ignore it, and then at the end, you just have Ben Stiller yell at a bunch of Civil War reenactors, "North wins, slavery's bad. I'm sorry."
Yeah. That's the way that it's all on Ben Stiller to just be like, hey man, what you did was bad. You're awful. You guys have to know that you're a bad person. And then they kind of did it with Robin Williams, where he's just like, I'm not Teddy Roosevelt. I was made in a fucking a wax museum in Kentucky or whatever. And so it's just like, okay, that absolves you of being him, but
Last ditch effort
to like kind of just don't hate Robin Williams.
I loved the whole climax. I loved watching. We already talked about the old men coming to life, but there's also at one point Ben Stiller's son has the ancient Egyptian tablet, and he's like, "Trust me, son. Activate it." And I'm like, what are you doing, dog?
What? Yeah, what how? Where did he get this abacus from? I didn't know it spun. It's so, anyway.
Oy.
Why do I have to convince my own child to trust me over strangers that just beat the dog shit out of me? Or they didn't yet, but they were. That whole scene was making me upset. Because I was like, oh, you're going to not trust your dad because why exactly?
I've just seen too many movies with mummies where I'm like, don't activate the tablet. Don't do it, kid.
No.
You're going to get your soul sucked right out of your butthole.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't do it. Don't do it, man. I was also like terrified when the mummy unwrapped its face, I was like, oh my, this is gonna be awful. It's gonna be a fucking skeleton, or it's gonna have beetles coming out of its mouth.
Oh yeah,
or
the scarabs.
Locusts, the scarabs. Oh god. And then it was a beautiful person. Great.
Rami Malek and his beady eyes.
Beady eyes.
All right, you ready for some fun facts?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Get out of how sad history is. This was Rami Malek's film debut. That rocks.
I love that. I love it when, like, I don't know, like somebody who's big, like, of course, like seeing their debut and then seeing how silly it is and like opposite from their trajectory. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Anyway.
Okay. What? There's a monkey in this movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe we didn't talk about the monkey. It's played by Crystal the monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Adorable. They spent several weeks training her how to slap and bite Ben Stiller for the film.
7 weeks? Several weeks.
Maybe 7. That blows my mind that was real.
Yeah.
I was convinced that was CGI monkey slapping.
Oh, why?
That rocks.
That's yeah. Why not? If you can get a monkey to slap a person,
it can't be that hard to train a monkey.
No, it can't be.
Dang.
They're pretty smart.
By the way, this monkey.
That's also the type of monkey that they always use whenever they want a monkey to be doing something.
Yeah.
Is this like a brilliant brand
Capuchin?
of monkey? I don't know what
Like
type
in
they are.
Indiana Jones when he goes, bad date.
Yeah. Spike from Ace Ventura is also this type of monkey.
There's a scene early on where, like, I can handle a T-Rex chasing me. I can handle the caveman chasing me. But if a monkey bites my fucking nose and then pees on my leg, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
That is everything else I'll stand by.
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
monkey biting your nose?
Yeah.
That's horror film
Monkeys
shit.
are they've got like sharp nails also. Like I had the same type of monkey on my shoulder and it was one of the greatest days of my life.
I was about to ask you if you've ever met a monkey.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. But like they don't give a fuck about you and they don't give a fuck about like where they're going at all. You think that this is like a being that knows what a face is and knows that faces are delicate and all that shit. They don't know. They don't care. For whatever reason, you're like, oh, babies know not to scratch at people's eyes, but a monkey does not and doesn't give a shit.
I was at
Pretty crazy.
I think in Costa Rica, a rehabilitation center. There's no zoos allowed in Costa Rica, but then like they'll rehab.
Yeah.
Animals. Well, a monkey reached through a cage and turned my hat on my head and then touched my nose.
Oh,
It was nice. That remains one of the better moments in my life.
that's beautiful.
Been chasing that high. There's a little hand
Yeah.
on my nose.
Yeah.
Probably threw poop with it. Director Sean Levy said that Dick Van Dyke and Mickey Rooney auditioned for their roles. Fuck you, Sean.
Yeah.
They should have auditioned you.
Yeah.
See if you were worthy of directing them, Sean.
Fucking Sean.
This is very funny. Ben Stiller studied Tom Cruise to figure out how to run like he does.
That's funny.
And I'm gonna tell you what, Ben, you didn't nail
You
it.
didn't get it. No.
You didn't do it. That was time wasted.
So this obsession with coming from the track world, this obsession with Tom Cruise's running.
It's important. It's cinema.
It's so funny.
He runs hard. There literally people have like written essays about this.
Yeah, I know.
Because he runs hard.
He runs hard. There are some people that in their stride, their heads jerk forward as they're moving. And that's such wasted movement. You need to stay still. Your torso has to be as still as humanly possible. But for whatever reason, because Tom Cruise's body moves forward and you see like his hair shake while he's running, you're like, that motherfucker's moving. He's booking.
Counterpoint, Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
Counterpoint, Rogue Nation.
Yeah. Or he's on the roof.
Oh yeah.
It's a good run.
That's a fucking good
He's got a good
run.
run. He's got a good run.
That
But
Scientologist fuck knows how to run.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got the juice.
he's got a good run. I'm saying all of this to say I think he's slow. I think I could beat him in a race. I think in his prime, I think I could beat him in a race.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you could do.
No way. Owen Wilson as Jedediah was supposed to be a cameo.
Wow.
He tested so well.
That they were like,
They were like,
"We need more." Is that why they're They had to like do reshoots to add him into the movie.
They literally shot more
That's
to
so
add
funny.
him in.
That's so funny.
Which
And
is crazy. He's all over the movie.
He's the movie. He is the movie. He's the B story of the film, is the relationship between him and the Roman.
That's crazy.
It's so funny.
As I said before, the movie was written by Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben Garant. Tom Lennon is the main dude in Reno 911, Mr. Short Shorts.
Oh, nice.
The Real Life Museum of Natural History got a 20% visitor boost following this movie.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. History is important.
Because it was me. I went several times. No, I only went once.
I just have literally so many memories of like my grandma taking me to that museum. It really holds a special place in my heart. Yeah. Really lovely. We have to decide if this film a pleasure, a guilty pleasure, or just plain guilty.
Oh God, this is absolutely a guilty pleasure. Where
Yeah.
it's just like straight down the middle. Just like enjoyable movie. Turn your brain off.
Yup.
For the love of God, turn your brain off. Turn it off. And then just watch it, and then turn it back on.
If any flicker of it's still on.
If any flicker of it, if you question any part of this movie, you will be like, wait a second, no. And you will spiral, and you'll kill your high.
I did it.
Yeah. It'll ruin things the more you lift under the curtain. But if you leave the curtain where it is,
Oh my God!
Right.
What a cast!
good time.
What a
Good
time! The museum. It was crazy.
Museum.
I finished and I texted our group chat because I knew Kelsey. I always want to make her jealous when she's not here. And I went, talk about a crazy night. Let me tell you what, that's some night they had at that museum.
The other thing is that I wish it was one night. It was several nights. It was several nights. I wish it was one.
He has a night at the museum, then goes to his home.
Yeah, goes home because they had to like explain what happens once the sun comes out. So anyway,
This man goes. He like picks up his son from school.
Yeah.
He showers. He shaves. He probably cooks himself a meal.
yeah,
I also he never sleeps because he takes the night shift, and then they show him like in libraries during the day studying up on history.
yeah.
Man's losing his mind.
He's losing his mind.
He's like a night crawler.
Yeah.
Garrick, you have a pleasure for this week. A my pleasure.
Oh yeah. I do have a my pleasure. Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Really?
It is sensational.
Really? This is the new Donald Glover, Maya Erskine joint.
Erskine, and it went through not controversy, but it made headlines because it was going to be Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
She dropped out.
Maya Erskine replaced her, and Maya Erskine kills it so hard that I cannot.
No kidding.
It was like, yeah, this was for her.
Wow.
That's how
makes
good
me
she
so
is in
happy
that
to hear.
role. And then the more and more you look into it, you find out that there was besides Donald Glover and his brother who were EPs, which means that like they come in and out of like the room, and maybe Stephen Glover would
He's a
be in the
great
room.
writer.
Great writer. But all female writing staff, and so. Or mostly female writing staff. And so all of the things that they kind of talk about are nuanced. It is, I'm sorry, I didn't explain this. It is a thinly veiled action show where the more and more you look at the iceberg, it is just about relationships and a relationship building and a relation and where people meet each other and how they meet at work, and then how they're like, wait, we're not right for each other, but actually we might be, and so on and so forth. And it has such beautiful talks and nuanced conversations about relationships. And then it also is 8 episodes and allows you to see and peek behind the curtain, which is something I literally just said. Peek behind the curtain at length on how relationships develop. Like it's a really, really long rom-com, you know.
Do you
and it's
have to
really
have
nice.
seen the original?
No, at all. different. It's
I haven't even seen it, and I know that that's true.
yeah. It's a totally different like.
I'm so thrilled and relieved to hear, and I frankly shouldn't be surprised because Donald Glover just doesn't fucking miss.
Doesn't fucking miss.
And I think you talk about underappreciated. I think that he is one of the true great artists of our time.
Oh, yeah.
And the world doesn't appreciate him
they
enough.
don't appreciate him enough and want to admit it. Like when the This Is America video dropped, the world shut down.
Yep.
America shut down for a night because this was after his SNL debut, and then that came out, or his SNL hosting, not debut. And then that came out that night. And like I remember driving through the streets and like nobody was saying anything. Like the next day, every creative in LA was just sad.
Oh, I was mad. I was sad and mad, and I was like, I'll never be good enough.
Nobody is gonna be just like everybody, like collectively realizing that they were not going to be at that level of artistry.
It was okay. He did Derek comedy.
Yeah.
He was a web sketch artist. Yeah. Then he starts writing on 30 Rock and then performing on Community, right? And you're like, oh, this guy's really fucking funny. Yeah. He's got the juice. And then he's like, oh, I'm also a rapper. I'm Childish Gambino. And your gut...
That was kind of the craziest transition for me.
That's the craziest transition.
And then he's so...
And your gut goes, fuck you, no, you're not. And then you listen and you're like, oh, wait, maybe the fuck you are.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that he was doing that. They was doing both at the same time. But one of them popped before the other one. And then he was just like, well, I'm still going to do this. And he was just like, I'll just put it out in the, in the background or whatever. And I think that he did like a really cool thing where he grew up and transitioned to an adult man that needed to be taken seriously through music.
Yeah.
And, rather than through like us, like seeing him take more serious roles. Yeah. And I thought that was like a really interesting transition. His transitionary period was through being a rapper.
There is, I'm going to butcher this story, but I think it's like on the notes, the album notes on Spotify for Awaken My Love, which like that also then he goes from like, oh, this is good rap to making this masterpiece of an album.
Yeah.
That is so steeped in 70s sounds. And apparently, I don't know if it was one of the Isley brothers or God, I'm fucking this up, but people who very clearly he was doing their sound, they called each other in the middle of the night and was like, you need to wake up right now and listen to this album.
Wow.
And that is like the highest. So then he's like, oh, by the way, I'm back and I'm going to make Atlanta, which is maybe the greatest show.
Because it's just a mix of his two worlds. It's just like, I know this world so well. And then I also know how to write.
And then he made This Is America. Like he just bounces back, forth. He knows when to walk away from projects, which is the hardest thing as a creative person to do because it's a drug. His Coachella headlining was one of the most captivating, charismatic performances I've ever seen. That man, I worship at the altar.
Yeah. He's like the closest we have to a Renaissance man.
Yep.
It's fucking crazy. It's a really good show.
This has been our episode about Night at the Museum.
Yeah. Watch Night at the Museum. We'll also watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith in Severance. So
yeah, we covered it all.
Yeah.
And read up about Ted Roosevelt.
Yes. Oh my God.
We'll know what you did.
Never call him Teddy. Oh my God. Fucking Ted.
I'm at Corn Duty on all things.
I'm at Kelsey Darragh on all the things. I'm at Garrick Bernard on all the things.
And until next time, what if you're wrong and you're just an ordinary guy who should get a job? It hurts.
Devastating.